You are officially in the loop. Welcome to In the Loop podcast. I am your host, Jordan Joe Hollabaugh, professional rodeo athlete, entrepreneur, and a full-time cowgirl. I'm married to my best friend, and we are blessed to get to do what we love every day, and that is travel around the world and rodeo. My goal on this podcast is to promote the Western industry, and specifically the sport of breakaway roping. On In the Loop, we bring you behind-the-scenes stories of what real life looks like every day, from cowgirls, cowboys, industry leaders, producers, trailblazers, and all of the like. You are now officially in the loop. Let's get to it. Okay, guys, so today we are here with somebody I really, really look up to. I want to say, like, the only way I can describe this guy is the Michael Jordan of rodeo. That's kind of what you are to me. Kaycee Feild, 6-time world champion bareback rider. Kaycee, thanks for coming to the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate the nice compliment and look forward to being on your show with you.
I was trying to think of ways I could describe this. I'm like, this is like the red carpet of all things. And I know you're maybe not a breakaway roper yet. I know you have a daughter, so probably she's going to be a breakaway roper. So you're going to need to learn sometime. But I just feel like the whole time I've watched you in your career, for me, you've just broken records, set records. You've just completely changed the trajectory to me of what it was like to be a cowboy in and out of the arena. And I so admire that. We are getting started on our mindset series for the summer. And this is something that I look forward to every year because I just love to learn. I mean, I selfishly get to do these podcasts. Uh-oh.
Whoa, I'm back.
You just got bucked off. Your phone just got bucked down. We selfishly get to do these
That's the first
podcasts.
time I've been bucked off in a long time.
He just got bucked off. His phone just completely tumbled. If you guys want to go watch this on YouTube, you absolutely can. Yeah, so we're starting our mindset series, and I'm like, selfishly, I'm like, whose brain can I pick? Like, I want to know the answers. And although you guys are getting to listen, I'm like, all right, this is about me, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna ask Kaycee if he'll be on there. And then of course you were like, yeah.
Heck yeah, I appreciate it a bunch. I honestly, the breakaway roping and the bareback riding, the mentality is completely different. The focus that it takes. I've just been messing around with it with my daughter. Got her a little horse. He's kind of cool, and I'm not pushing for that, but I like the breakaway roping. So she's gonna pick an event, that'd be it. But the focus and the mindset that it takes is completely different. So I'm excited to hear the questions and kind of the angles that you're gonna be coming at me with.
Well, here we go. Okay, so first question, let me give a little background here. Every time I've watched you ride, you have showed up to win, it looks like to me. And win or lose, no matter what the outcome, you walk out of there with a smile on your face. And I heard you do an interview at one point, and you were talking about when you were on the team, and you'll have to correct me, it was a while ago when you got to go overseas and actually go on a tour. Is that correct? With
Mm-hmm.
some soldiers, and it completely changed your perspective. So talk to me a little bit about how you showed up in the arena, out of the arena, and you showed up to win, and you left there with a smile on your face.
Well, the smile on my face, that was very young. That was sportsmanship that was taught to me at a very young age from my late father, Lewis Field. Um, you know, Kind of to sum it up quick, his perspective on the arena was the stage. The person that has the stage that is out there is sharing their craft. They're sharing their work of art, and so you need to respect that. So if there's somebody else out in the arena, don't be walking around the edges while they're out performing on the stage. You're on their stage and distracting the judge or whatever. And so um, that's part of the sportsmanship and the smiling on your face. As soon as you're done, there people came there to see you perform, and to show them what you love to do. And so to show them what you love to do, and riding bucking horses is something that I love dearly, and I wanted to show that. And so a smile on my face to show them the love that I have for the work of craft I'm working on, was kind of mentored at a very young age toward me, not only from my father, but the people that came to the practices when my dad had college rodeo practices when he was a coach at Utah Valley University. We were there for a purpose. And it wasn't just to be a good bareback rider, it was to be a good athlete and a good sportsman. Um, but to go overseas and see war firsthand was very humbling for me. The first year I went, I was 22 years old. We went into Iraq and Afghanistan, Qatar, Oman, Abu Dhabi. Um, we logged over 100 hours of flight time. Um, I was I mean this humbly saying, but I was a successful young bareback rider. I started winning a pretty good amount of money at a young age, and um, I was invincible. It was all me. I'm Kaycee Feild. I'm winning. I'm doing this. This is my way. I go overseas and I see these soldiers. I get up and go and train with them early mornings, and it's 115 degrees out already at 8 in the morning, and these guys are smiling and happy and slapping hands, and their workouts were very impressive. And then I got to thinking during the workouts, I'm like, these guys are going out to be shot or to shoot and kill. And I've seen PTSD with some friends from some cops and firemen and soldiers, here and there, but they had a purpose. And so I thought to myself, I'm doing push-ups and sit-up. I'm not really even training that hard. I'm pushing myself as hard as I can, but I don't really have a purpose. And so to go overseas and see war firsthand, one, it made me grow up a lot. I've always had a deep respect for our military, but it even grew more the years that I got to go overseas. Um, but I credit a lot of my success to going over and seeing war firsthand and um, what a humbling experience it was. Americans, you know, we really don't know how good we have it. And
Yeah.
so, what I learned about myself and, the appreciation I have for our military and everything that I seen and witnessed, I felt like I came home and I had more of a purpose. And so, anytime that I had the opportunity to compete, because I don't have to do it, I get to do it. I get to go and ride bucking horses. I get to show my talent. Where those guys, they have a mission and they have to follow these guidelines and they have to follow it very precisely or they're going to die.
Yeah.
And so my purpose after I came home the first year completely changed. It was kind of interesting how it happened. So I go overseas over there for 2 weeks over Memorial Day. I get home, I land jet lagged as ever, and go straight to Harriman, and then the next day down to Livermore, and a horse flips over in the chute and breaks my arm. And I'm like, man, Heavenly Father, like I went and did a good deed. Took 2 weeks out of my season and went and where's the favor back kind of thing,
Right.
selfishly saying. And so I when I got home from that trip, I got to sit around for 6 weeks with a cast on my arm and petty me, But instead of thinking petty me and I'm injured, I got to think about war. I got to think of the experiences that I just went and had. And when I wrote my goals down, that was 2010. They were completely different than 2009, and I took notice in that. And I came back to the season midway through July and still made the NFR. Was really close to winning a world championship, and so that being out for majority of the season and what I experienced on those trips is why I credit a lot of those experiences to my success today.
So I love how you say, you came back with a purpose. So I guess it intrigues me to know you did have a lot of success. How many world titles did you win before you went on this trip?
That was 2010. My first world title was in 11, but I came close. It was my fault that I didn't win the world title, and so I learned a lot about myself and reaching for the stars a little bit more, not far enough.
So what, if you don't mind me asking, what was the difference in your goals in 2009 to 2010? Like what did that look like? Can you break that down for us just a little bit?
Yeah, 2008, 2009, it was make the NFR, win 5 rodeos, world championship. But then you go overseas and you see how those guys prepare for a one mission for 2 hours a night. They've studied for months before that 2 hours. And so my goals got way more in depth. They got to where I would write down for the weekend, I would write down, the $3,000 added rodeo, the $5,000 rodeo, the 10,000 added. And I would want to be at the 10,000 added rodeo on Saturday night. They pay the most times the percentages would be that the rough stock is won on the last night of the rodeo. I don't know why that is, but it just seems that way. I might have an idea, but uh, that's a different little hole we'll go down some
Different
other day.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Part
Um,
3.
so they were much more in depth. And when I was writing those goals down, I would imagine myself in the buck and shoots at Harriman, Utah, and the shoots are green. The sand is a little bit gritty. It's kind of hard. Um, I would dream those scenarios and I'd write it down. As I'm winning it in my mind, I would write it down. On Saturday night, I'm winning the rodeo and I'm going to win the biggest one for the weekend. And then the other ones, I'm gonna probably win those too. I'm writing them down. I might as well dream of being there. I'm gonna go there. I want to be more familiar with the space, and so my goals got really defined, and it wasn't yearly goals, monthly goals, week goals. It was daily goals. It was each and every ride. It was a mission. I wanted to have my toes turned out perfectly. I wanted my upper body perfect. I wanted to ride the bucking horse better than anybody else could, but at the same time, I'm going to put some style on it. I'm going to
Mhm.
I'm going to try to make it look as much cowboy Western iconic image that I possibly can in that 8 seconds. How can I do that? How can I cram that in that 8 seconds? And so, with experience and years of writing down goals, I learned what worked for me. The experiences, whether it be going overseas or being injured or winning, the goals, they had a purpose. They had a mission. They had those guys, they do a lot of their missions at night. And so, what would it be like to ride a horse blindfolded? What would I feel? How could
Mhm.
I feel that horse's front feet? Is he in the right lead? Is he in the left lead? Is he kicking out to the right? What's my bareback rigging doing when his front feet are off the ground 2 feet? Okay, where's my body need to be? And so I really I studied it very, very in depth, and then would write my goals after I would study. And it was just I guess that jump from '09 or from the 2008 and 9 when I was a young kid to 2010, I guess you could say that's how much I grew up going overseas and seeing war. It,
Right.
it just made me realize that the amount of time that I have is short, whether it be 8 seconds in the arena or life. The opportunities that we have, you have to capitalize here and now to your fullest ability and 100%.
Yeah, 100%. I love how you said that you got down to the nitty-gritty, like, each and every piece of the ride, from which lead to what the arena dirt was like, to the chutes, to all the things. And so I will say, before I give my next question, in September this year, I had 2 friends ask me to be a part of a challenge for 75 hard. And within that, one of them was doing a little bit more, so we did a it was like a 30-day challenge of the 75 hard. So within that, you did all the things with 75 hard, plus you did visualization and a few other things. And so I'd always heard about it, but I had never tried it. And so I don't know if you watched Ice Age with your kids, but the squirrel named Scrat, like, that is me, right? So my brain is running 200 miles an hour at all times. So when I sat down to first try this for 10 minutes, I was like, "Oh my god, like, what are we doing? Where are we at? How many minutes have gone by?" Yeah, it was so hard for me. And then I heard you do an interview about the American, and you said, "I literally visualized winning the American, coming back on Virgil," and you talked about that ride. So I'm like, "Okay, so instead of just doing this headspace thing, I'm gonna, like, visualize my runs. Like, I'm gonna try this." and I did it, and I absolutely loved it, and it's changed everything about not just my roping, in life. Like, I'm like, "Okay," I even did it today. I'm like, "How do I wanna show up on this podcast? What do I wanna say? How do I want my how do I want my body posture?" Like, I did that, right? And it's silly, but I so did that because 'cause I'm like, "I wanna show up here." So, my question for you is, I too had a chance at the American this year to win the million. So, I come back, I visualize all the things, all the steps. I go to Guthrie, or yeah, to Oklahoma City. I qualify back, make it back to the contender finals. Visualize winning Abilene. I win Abilene, win 15,000. Visualize making it to the top 4. My calf sucked. Make it to the top 4. So then I get there and I'm like, I'm going to win $1,000,000. And it didn't happen. I went second. But when I'm making my run inside, I've never told anybody this. My husband's probably going to shoot me. Like, as I'm making my run inside, I'm like, "Throw it," and I didn't throw it. Like, I took one more, and I'm like, "I've made this run a million times, but it didn't happen." But it happens for you. So, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but talk to me
No.
about your visualization. Like, what do you do when it does happen? How do you build on that? And then what do you do when it doesn't happen? How do you build on that?
Um, it's dreaming. It's what you want. That's what it boils down to. I wanted to win the American, and I wanted to do it in style. I wanted to do it on the rankest bareback horse that's gray. I'm wearing white chaps and a white vest for a reason. God has a hand in this, and He wants the best for me. He's going to help me out a little bit. I'm going to draw that gray horse. I'm going to look awesome in white on that horse, and I'm going to win $1,000,000. I want that. All these things are lining up. I believe that they are. The more that I believe that they are, the more that they happen. And so dreaming and wanting it, you put those two together, and it's a very, very powerful thing. Then if you can hone in on your visualization of your discipline, you're above probably 80% of the people of your competition. Um, bareback riding, it's 8 seconds, but it's 90% mental.
Mhm,
Um, it's a very physical event. You got to be fit, and you got to be tough. But at the same time, your whole life outside of the arena plays an effect on that 8 seconds. And
mhm.
so if you're not, mowing the lawn with a purpose with straight lines, or if you're not moving the irrigation and getting every blade of grass wet in your field, you don't really have a purpose. And
Mhm.
so when you're visualizing things, you're visualizing them for a purpose. You're not just saying, "Oh, I can see my ride. Oh, that looks good. Oh, you know what? That jump right there got the judge's attention. Oh, you know what? That horse probably bucked harder because of the way that you're riding."
Mhm.
And I tell myself, I ride bucking horses different than everybody else. And everybody else rides horses different than everybody else. So that horse is going to feel different things than I'm going to feel them. So that horse is probably going to buck better with me than anybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's going to, but I'm for damn sure telling myself that. Like
You're like,
I
"I'm
want
believing it."
every moment leading up to that 8 seconds, I'm winning, and I am
Yep.
so confident, and I am high fiving before I ever get on. And then you get on in the buck and shoots, and you focus, and you have the confidence in yourself because you've been winning all day, and you're feeling great. Well, guess what? All they got to do is open the gate and let you show what you can do, and
Yeah.
that's it. And just like yourself, you know the extra swing that you took, but now the next time you're in that scenario, you're going to take one less swing. You're
Yeah.
going to throw that rope and be like, "Oh, I caught! Wow, I wasn't even ready to throw.
Yeah.
Wow, huh? That worked
Yeah.
out great.
"Okay, try
I'm
this
winning."
again." Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
100%.
so I think if I was to if, at schools that I have done, I guess if we're going to talk about mental toughness and visualization, it comes down to dreaming it and wanting it and how hard you're going to put the work up. It's any event, any discipline, it's any sport. The person that works the hardest is going to probably outperform the person that doesn't work at all and has the most talented.
Mhm.
But you know, as you're working out and you're doing, if you're at your job or whatever your daily routine is, Do it with a purpose. Um, if you are mowing the lawn, be dreaming of making the best breakaway run you've ever done. Maybe the lines that you're mowing are the lines when your horse stops. Like, try to put yourself in that situation with your mind as much as you possibly can, to when you get there, you've been there hundreds of times and you're familiar with it, and there's not an ounce of pressure. You're there, and it's like, all right, this is my opportunity to go out and show what I've been doing, rather than, ooh, this is a big opportunity for me. I hope I go out there, and I hope I draw the right one. I hope I perform. I hope my rope doesn't get a backswing in it. I hope my saddle pad's perfect. There's a lot of those things that I hope, but if you're visualizing properly and you're writing your goals down properly, when it comes to that moment of competition, you've dreamed it, you've wrote the goals down. Now you just get to go do it. You don't
Yeah,
have to do it.
you get
It's
to
an
do it.
opportunity. Yeah.
Well, and
And
this is
slumps.
probably not good because I mow the lawn and spell my name. Like, that's why I got fired from mowing the lawn. My husband mows the lawn, like, we have the lawn of the month here in Texas. Yeah, they actually put a sign out front, says yard of the month. Mhm.
Hey, that's a big accomplishment right there. My yard kicks my butt. My cowboy hat is not transparent from the rodeo arena to landscaping.
Well,
I'll
and
tell you that.
that's true. Yeah, I got fired from landscaping, but that's okay. Raymond is way better at it than me. And I'll let him have that job. I mean, I swerve a couple times, get fired, no big deal. So, one thing I wanted to talk about, you said, before you show up, you're high fiving, you're showing up with confidence, you can win. I sat down at San Antonio a couple years ago with one of your fellow traveling partners, Cole Reiner. And I was asking him, I said, where's Kaycee? What's he doing? And he was like, oh, who knows? I mean, he was definitely talking trash about you. I won't say it on here, but he was talking trash. But he said, then of course my husband got to quizzing him about you and rodeoing with you and all the things, and he said, he's definitely made me a better bareback rider, and he said, I'll never forget one time, I don't remember exactly where it was. He said, I made an awesome ride, and he said, like, 89 points, like, I'm like up here win the rodeo. He said, I'm like on cloud nine. And he said, we get in the truck, and he said, I'm watching my video, and I show Kaycee this video, and he said, and I'm like thinking, uh-huh. And he said, yeah, Kaycee goes, well, you could have done better right there. And he said, and it really pissed me off. Is it really pissed me off? He said, and then I didn't even say anything for a while. And he said, as we're driving down there, I'm thinking, man, maybe I could have given more right there. Maybe I could have been more points. So talk about, that's kind of camaraderie that I envy when I hear the timed event guys. I just love being around, or the rough stock guys, excuse me. Timed event guys, not there yet. Rough stock guys, we should take notes. But I envy that about you guys. Like, you rise up and everybody around you rises up. Like, you went with Cole and Tilden a bunch. I know you guys are all friends and all the things, but it seems like everybody that was in your guys' rig, you guys all rose up. You were all better. You were all challenging each other. How do you convey that situation when you're on the road, when you're competing against each other? Like, what were some of the ways you were able to do that and bring others up around you?
you know, um, Again, I credit a lot of my influence from my father. Anytime you went with him, whether it was work, horse ride, whatever, it was a great time. It didn't matter what you're doing. So, rodeoing, and especially like Cole or Tilden, I'm with the greatest guys in the world. They're amazing, and they want the best. Their outlook on life and what they want in life lined up with what I want. And so when we get in the truck, we have so much to relate on in life rather than just riding bucking horses. And so, I hold myself to a discipline or a standard for life that I want to be a good guy. I want to make an influence on other people, or an impact on other people. And I would rather be talked about as a good guy, and the things how I help people, rather than the things that I've won or the bad horses that I've rode. Again, like my dad, I go around the country, and there's people that say, your dad was running late for the rodeo, and he stopped and helped me change my trailer tire in the parking lot. And I know he had to ride a bareback horse, but he stopped, and we had a great conversation. Little things like that. But champions, still sharpen steel. And I rodeoed with Cole for a reason. I understood what Cole wanted out of this rodeo deal. I understood that he wants to be a great bareback rider. He just doesn't want to just be a good bareback rider and make the NFR. He wants to win the NFR. He wants to win a world title. And so when we have guys get in the truck like that and they have the same mentality, if they don't have thick skin, they won't last very long. And it's just like bareback riding. If you don't have thick skin, you're not going to last in the bareback riding. You might go 2 or 3 years and make the NFR, but if you don't have very thick skin, you're not going to be a great. And so Cole and Tilden do the same to me. If my toe rolls up, or even if I let my tongue hang out for 1 second, like they're gonna grill my ass as soon as we get in that truck. Probably not even let me get my spandex off and change into my chill clothes before they're ripping on me. At least I wait till we get in the truck and he wants to talk about it, the little punk. He, uh, but we get in the truck and we beat each other up.
Hmm.
We make sure that Cole is capable of being a world champion, and he knows that. And so, if I can critique his riding, and he's not going to get offended if I tell him how wrong he's doing it, and every jump, everybody's not doing it my way, but we have fun with it, and we make each other better, and that's what's so fun about rodeo, and what I enjoyed about my career was so much is I travel with great guys, and we held ourselves to standards that if we didn't win a check or first place at every rodeo, there was something wrong, and it was our
Yeah.
fault. You can't control anything in the rough stock. You can't have a plan, but your attitude, which dictates most of your results, um, is your attitude. And so that's what we focused on 90% of the time. And some of the best arguments, I say the best arguments, not the worst arguments, are from asking Cole why he's so grumpy in the morning. He'd wake up and he hadn't even said a word, and I'd be like, "Hey Cole, why are you grumpy?" "I'm not." "Why'd you answer me like that, bud?" And so, like,
He's probably like,
just
oh my God, this guy.
oh yeah. Yeah, it was funny. We pushed cows up on the mountain on Monday a few days ago, and Cole, he has a girlfriend. I'm happy it's a female, and
That's
we
good. Me too. Me too.
so it was good to see him catch up. But I'm proud of Cole, and rodeoing with him a few years that I did. It was fun to see the drive from that young kid. It was a lot of fun for me to travel with him.
Yeah. Well, and I think that just the camaraderie, like I said, is something that I envy about you guys. You're able to lift each other up, to beat each other up, but you're still wanting to beat each other up for the better. Like everybody rises to the top there. But I love how you said again, you with a purpose, intention. You're in the rig with those guys for a reason. And I think that really that just seals the deal that it is what it is. But one of the quotes that I'd heard the other day I wanted to ask you about, and this doesn't really tie in with those guys, but it said, do you have the confidence to fail? And
Hmm.
I thought that was really interesting. I sat there and pondered. I write all the things. Like I'm a journaler too, so it's nice to meet you. But it is, I pondered on that and I journaled on it quite a bit, and it just takes you back. But if somebody were to ask you, do you have the confidence to fail? What would you say?
For sure. Bring it on. I might fail one time, but I won't fail twice. So you know what I
He's
mean,
like,
if you
mic
do it.
drop.
No, I don't
I
mean it
know.
that way, but I don't mean to sound arrogant or rude, but I mean, if you fail once, you need to learn, and if you
Mhm.
don't have the humility to learn, you need to go back before the spurring board. You need to go back to you know what's
Crayons?
important about life. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, not not trying to be a bareback rider.
Well, I mean, I agree. Everybody get your crayons out if you're not ready. So,
Yeah.
um,
So failure. I mean, one of my worst injuries that came from failure. I messed up. I didn't. Not that I had a plan, but I didn't do what I was supposed to do. It wasn't what I showed up to do. Just like you swung one more time. I hung on just a little too long. I should have ripped my feet. I failed, and it cost me big time.
mhm.
And after that, never once again was I going to let up. I only have, you know, 200 more horses I'm ever going to get on in my career after this. And if I mess up one more time, I'll mess up, but if I give up, if mentally I have a block that I did something to protect myself because of the fear of failure. That was the last time it happened, and it never happened again. But to me, that's a that's a wimpy chicken move.
Well, and I
No
think it's
offense. No
100%.
offense.
No, I agree. I agree. But it's like as a I'll just use myself for example. That's where I used to go with it. Like I was scared to fail. So I would stay in a comfort place where I'm like, "Well, I know I'm going to fail here. I know I can make these excuses. So like this is my comfy spot. I'm just going to stay here." Because it's scary to think if I go up here, it's just a weird mind thing. 100%. But it's like when you flip that and you learn to use that as motivation, just like you're talking about, like, I was not gonna do that again. Like, if I've already run that calf at the I'm ready for next year, man. Like, bring it up. I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it heck. I don't know. And so it's like using that as motivation, failure as motivation has helped me tremendously, but it also paralyzed me with fear a long time ago. And so I just like to have people's perspective on that because I think something jars somebody loose, and if it can help somebody, I think it's great.
Yeah, you know, it's not all I hate to lose and I hate failure, but some of the most memorable learning situations I've been in is my mess up.
I agree, and
Humbly
that's what
say.
it's like, I've started to get excited when I screw up because 'cause I'm like, "Yes, this means something good is coming." You know what I mean? It's like, "I'm gonna get better here," because I can't ever say I got better when I was doing great. Like, no, ever. No.
You get when you're doing great, it's weird. You get into that flow state and winning so easy and it's effortless. But you're right. You don't learn a lot. You get experience, which is very powerful. But at the same time, you're not going home and journaling anything. Maybe
Yeah, you're
going
just
home,
like, "Woohoo."
yeah, celebrate with the buddies. My wife was super happy. You know, bed was better than normal. Like just you're not gonna in those situations. You're not gonna think, man, I should have turned my toes out. Should have tucked my chin. God, that
Yeah.
wasn't very cowboy. Lost my hat. Like there's a lot of things you just don't think
Need a
about in the flow
stampede
state.
string. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. So
yeah.
I wanna talk a little bit about your retirement, which I think for your fans was crushing, right? I'm like, "What? I'm just getting started watching this guy, like, where is he going?" Well, and I kinda wanted to, fan mail you and hate mail, but what a
Well,
bold
thanks again.
decision to make, and you made the decision, right? It's on your terms, and, you were good with it. So talk about your retirement, how you made that decision, and what that was like making that choice.
Um, so retirement, I had been contemplating it for a few years. Um, there's things that I've been missing out on home that I'm never going to have the opportunity to be a part of again or see again. Um, the bareback riding, to be great at any discipline, you have to be selfish. There was some selfish things I was doing to be great that my life goals weren't getting crossed off quite as fast as I wanted them to. And so missing things at home with my family, my kids, my buddies from high school, childhood friends. I live pretty close to where I grew up, and there's a handful of us, the rowdy bunch, what we were called in high school, that are all still hanging out and buddies together and go hunting and having the weekends open. Is something I've never felt since I was 12 years old. Um, so those things, and then the bareback riding, it was harder to leave the house than it was to prepare. It was
Mm,
harder to say goodbye to the family than to enjoy winning a check or a buckle or a trinket or whatever it was. The bareback riding is a young man's sport. So my the end was coming. I don't know when it was. I didn't want anybody else to say, dude, you need to hang it up. You can't, your left foot ain't moving. You suck. Like,
mhm.
you look old. You got the gray hair to go with it, but don't ride like that, you know? So, there was a lot of things at home with business partners, family that I was more excited about. The bareback ride, and I was I was putting myself in a very vulnerable place. Like the days of 47, I'm in the short round half shouting shoes, and Wade Sankey's flanking the horse, and I'm just looking straight up at him, like, how's your Sunday? You go to church? Like, all right, you want to tell him to open the gate? I'm ready. He's like, serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And that's it was fun, and I had a blast, and winning was effortless. But my preparation was cutting into my family life. It was cutting into um, my business life, which could prolong much longer than my rodeo career. And so
Mhm.
the opportunity, I guess you could say, for me to retire when I did, it just seemed so perfect.
Right.
And now where I'm at in life with my family, my kids, and some irons that I got in the fire at home, I'm very content where I'm at. I'm very happy. Having a structured time schedule, actually a schedule that I can follow is something that I've never felt that getting into a routine and figuring things out and learning different things has been a lot of fun for me. And then being home every night and every weekend with my family. And I got to hurry home after the fulfillment center today to the little league baseball game and
That's
watch my
awesome.
little boy crush it. And there's just things that are, like today, for instance, when I leave here and I'm on my way to go watch Hucks play baseball, it's a lot like the first time I roll over the hill coming into Vegas. It was nighttime and I got to see the lights, and I get to go ride in the Thomas and Mack. Well, now it's like, man, I can't wait to get in the truck and go watch my little boy crush it. I'm just gonna sit there. I'm not gonna say a word. I'm mute. I'm one of those guys, but on the inside, I'm jumping up and
You're
down.
lit
Never
up.
been so proud in my life.
Yeah,
You
that's
know, and
awesome.
so retirement, it's been fun. It's real life has begun, the 9 to 5. But it's enjoyable. I've very very happy and content.
Well, and I had the pleasure of actually, I wish I would have taken a picture of it. Hux signed my hand one time. It was really cool at Fort Worth. I said we were at the autograph signing at the Fort Worth Stock Show, and I said, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" And he's like, without missing a beat, "Yeah, you got a pen?" I'm like, "Okay." So he signed my hand, and it just said Hux on there, so that was awesome. But cheering him on too, and your family is beautiful. Your wife Stephanie is one of your biggest fans. Beautiful inside and out, and your daughter. So talk about family life now, right? You earlier you mentioned breakaway is so different than bareback riding. Well, I feel like you're probably going to get a dose of it. So you got my number. Y'all call me. But what do how are you raising your kids? Like that was one of my biggest things in this world today. It's such a challenge in all things, right? And we're raising our kids up, and they are going to be the future, not just in the sport of rodeo, but in this world. So, how are you guys trying to raise your kids to be healthy competitors in and out of the arena?
Wow. The competitive side is genetics. My oldest daughter, she'll throw some elbows in the basketball game at junior jazz for sure. Um,
Junior
but
jazz
just
too. Wow.
Oh yeah,
It's
junior jazz,
competitive.
volleyball. Oh yeah, Steph, my wife was a tremendous athlete in high school. Still is. She probably might be able to, but might not be able to beat me in basketball. So
Just throwing that out there.
I think we're like 13 and 12 right now. She's got 13 games. I've got 12.
Oh, so
A
you're
couple
getting
arguments.
slayed. Right. Okay, cool. That's nice.
But so I think when we're leaving the game, the biggest thing that it just any time that I can be alone with my kids, I just reassure them that they're great, that they're the best at whatever they want to be. They're beautiful, they're sweet, they're kind, um, they're winners, and they're motivators. There's people there's leaders and there's followers. You're a leader. You're one of the guys that in pressure situations, or if there's a problem, you're finding the solutions. You're the guy that everybody's going to look to in tight situations. You're going to be the guy that is going to be making the 3-point shot at the buzzer. You're that guy. You're a motivator. Build people up. Give compliments.
Mhm.
The more you see other people smile, it's easier for yourself to be happy and smile.
Right.
Strive in each and every way you possibly can to be better. You get another shot. You learn a lot with humility, and understanding humility is something that also we talk about. Sportsmanship is something we talk about. I don't ever say, "Hey, Hucks, Chamberlain, Remy, circle up. You do this. You give a compliment." It's very. I try to be a coach, but try to be a friend at the same time. With Tilden being around, oh tender Till, you learn how to say things where you don't offend him. And so, rodeoing with him from when I was 19 years old, before I had kids, I would think about things before they came out of my mouth a lot. And so, I got to credit Tilden on
He helped you
somewhat
raise your
of being
kids.
a father. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I need
So,
to have my husband call him. He's always asking me why I'm so emotional.
yeah, he can help you. He grew up in a nail salon, so yeah.
Poor Tilden, he's not
I
even
hope
here to
he
defend
listens to
himself.
this. Hey, it's perfect. That's how he is.
Well,
No,
Richmond
but so
Champion was on here a couple of months ago, and he did mention how I think he slayed you in the what was it? Oh yeah, the mounted shooting competition. He said you guys had a friendly bet going, and he totally wrecked you. Is kind of how he explained it. Did you hear that?
oh, I know it. He did, but it was a complete setup. Yeah. So that's a funny story. That is a good
It was
story, but it's a long
hilarious.
one.
I tried to
Yeah.
get the video of you doing it, but sadly, it's not documented, or I couldn't find it. Because I was definitely gonna call you out on it. But yeah, he told me all about it. I was crying, almost peed my pants.
Yeah, yeah, that one will do that. That's a good one. That was I might know a guy that has all that footage.
You might.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
might. Yeah, and there's a picture. We show up, and they hand us all of our stuff and guns, and we go. So we show up. They say, "Hey, you go with Susie. You go with Julie, and you get your horse and your guns, and come back up." So I go, and I get a pair of chinks and some cool guns and a sawhorse. Tilden and Richie. So Richie shows up. Richie looks good. He pulls it off pretty well for a mounted shooter. If you know what you're dealing with, he does well. So, yeah. So then here comes Tilden. He's got like Holstein vest, Holstein chaps, and his horse has Holstein saddle pad and splint boots, like he's going to the dairy farm.
He's a dairy farm shooter.
So there's a picture of three of us with our guns and our get up on. That's one that will be framed when I get my trophy room done for sure. That was
That's
that was a
awesome.
fun stretch with Richie. Richie was a great travel partner. He's one of them guys that wants to win every time and puts a lot of work into it. And him and I, we have a unique relationship, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But he's a great guy too.
He is. We had a great time on our podcast episode. If you guys haven't listened to it, go listen to it. But I'm yet to he challenged me to do an ice bath. I was doing the cold showers with the 75 hard at that time. And I'm like, man, this is 5 minutes, no problem. And he's like, we'll do an ice bath for 9. And I was like, done. Challenge accepted. But I haven't done it yet. Like I've been working my way into it. So yeah, I haven't finished on that. But uh it is. It's awesome. Just the people that you meet along. That's what I love about rodeos, the people that we've met. But I want to talk to you a little bit about your businesses too. So just like everything else, I also too have several businesses, and I love the business world. I feel like everything we learn in rodeo, I'm like, how can I apply this to the business world and see if it works? And so you're very competitive and all the things that you've got now going on too. So tell us a little bit about what life looks like now for Kaycee Feild and your business endeavors.
Um, so business is awesome. I love it. It's fun. It's completely different than rodeo. Um, like you said, it's a lot. What can I take from rodeo to the business world? And there's so many similarities. It's not even funny. The people that I deal with, the people that I to get to do business with, they're all great people. There's a little kind of motto going around. There's probably 40 or 50 of us here in Utah Valley that have got a whole bunch of little different projects going. And, about a year ago, we're all hanging out. And, one guy, Chandler, he's a good friend of mine, very successful guy. Whatever he touches, he turns to gold. But he's like, you know what? We all need to start benefiting more from each other. And like, if I'm making all the money and none of my friends are, what fun is that? And I'm like, you're right. Help me make some, you know?
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah. But the business world and what I learned from rodeo and the friends that I developed over the years of rodeo, and it's no different in business.
Mhm.
Having friends in places around the country, um, it's a gratification that is hard to explain. It brings confidence that you don't get anywhere else. It's to travel the country by yourself sucks.
Yeah.
To jump on a plane and go through the airport by yourself is not fun. To drive through the night by yourself is not fun. And so, but if you have someone there with you, it makes it better. And so, business having the right people on your side, driving through the night, helping you out, not letting you fall asleep, keeping you in check is the same as business. And the
Right.
handshake means something. And rodeo, when you shake somebody's hand, you know what you're dealing with pretty quick. You either what you want to rodeo with them and see them behind the buck and shoots, or you don't.
Mhm.
And the business world's the same way. You get a good vibe from what you're dealing with pretty soon. But business, so me and Shad, my brother, we have War Bonnet Cowboy hats together. He runs it and operates it. He's the brains, I'm the face, the good looking one of the family. I'm lying. That's
You
my
fluff
sister,
him, he
Macklin.
stuffs him. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, my sister got the beauty, Shad got the brains, I got the talent, is what I like to say. But I'm very close with my brother and sister. We talk several times a day, but he does a tremendous job over at the hat shop. He stays extremely busy. He's got lots of things going. He's a big motivator of mine. I look up to him tremendously. And then I have Power Pro. I started that back in 18. We're coming out with a new horse product that's amazing,
Awesome.
collagen based, but we got a lot of powerful ingredients in it. We'll have a gut health dog product here pretty quick. So Power Pro is growing. I've been able to put a lot of attention and focus on that company last year being retired. It's a fun business. The relationships that have been developed through that are a lot of fun. Um, and then Field Brothers Productions, commercials, um, pretty much just rent our horses out and find models, take some tents and some wagons to a photo shoot. Um, KTK Fulfillment is my latest venture. It's a fulfillment center. FBA prep for Amazon. We're shipping books, shoes, clothes, camo, spices, pharmaceuticals, you name it. It's
You're shipping it.
we're storing it and we're shipping it, slapping labels, baby.
That's
So
awesome.
it's a fun business, very fast paced, lots of relationships, very complex, a lot of technology. Um, I went to college for a year and had a laptop in '08, and
Do you know
since
how to
then
use
I've
it?
it had a lot of dust on it when I got it out last year. A little outdated, you could say.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's been the technology side of it has been a challenge, but I've got great partners that don't let me slip up, and if I make a mistake, they're going to tell me, and they want to succeed, and so they help their teammate out a lot, and it's cool to see, it's cool to feel, it's humbling. But what I've learned with business is the same thing with rodeo. You're outside of the office, you need to have things straight. You need to have a plan of attack. My routine really hasn't changed from preparing for riding bucking horses to preparing for business. It's wake up, take care of the hardest task first, go to the gym, get done with the gym, make the important phone calls, get your business done, and then you put your nose to the grindstone and start slapping labels or whatever it be. You're there for a purpose, and you're going to get the job done, and you're going to do it with style. And
Yeah.
and you know, all my businesses are still young. I've got lots to learn, but again, um, just like rodeo, I'm riding young colts. I'm on the spur board every night. I'm studying more than I've ever studied, and it's the same thing. It's the dream. and wanting it, um, is what the motivator is in business. And it was the same thing with bareback riding. I'm dreaming of being successful. I'm dreaming of selling a company for millions of dollars, and I'm not even close there yet, but the time is coming, and I do have faith in myself. I believe
Yep.
in myself, and I'm capable of it, just like anybody else.
Yeah.
Anybody in the world can do what I've done and or am doing.
Well, and I think the best thing I've learned is I have a business coach that I talk to all the time, and he'll always, we just read a book called The Big Leap. So if you haven't read it yet, go read it. It's really good. But it talks about your upper limits. And so he's always like, I'll tell him something I'm dealing with, and he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Man, stop asking me why. Like I'm paying you, dude. Like you tell me why." And so he challenges me, right? And he's like, "So why can't you do it? Who says you can't?" Or, any of that. And I'm like, "Well, nobody." And he's like, "Okay." And I'm like, "Okay, here we go." All right. Well, again. And so I think it's just asking better questions of yourself and in and out of the arena, right? Like, why not? Who said you can't? Or, well, this can't be done. Okay. Why? I mean, just continually asking better questions. I think that that's helped me more than anything in business is like, all right. And like you said, dreaming, it's an intentional thing. It's with purpose. And why not you?
Exactly. And I'm a huge believer in Christ.
Yep.
I'm without him, I wouldn't be here. But he wants good for you. He
Mm-hmm.
wants the best for you. He wants you to have the happiest, glorious days.
Yep.
So why not show him that you can have those?
Yep.
Like your Christ is going to challenge me. Bring it on.
Yeah.
This is my friend Chad.
Hey, Chad.
Say
How's
hi,
it
Chad.
going?
Chad.
Well, what's
Chad has
Chad?
come.
What's your role?
What's your role, Chad? What do you do here at the fulfillment center?
Not before, and just helping build boxes and just whatever he wants me to.
Anything he tells you? That's nice of you.
Chad and I went to high school together and have been friends ever since. And now, being retired, he gets to come to work with me once or twice a week.
I love it.
So it's pretty fun.
Nice to
Yeah.
meet you, Chad.
She said, "Nice to meet you, Chad."
Me too.
Well, and I think that's what's the neatest part about all of it is the relationships in and out of the arena. Um, Wrapping this all up, what brings you the most joy right now in your life? How old are you?
37.
Oh, well, thank God you're older than me. Uh, 37-year-old Kaycee Feild. What brings you the most joy right now?
uh, boy, there's so rodeoing. My house and my family and everything is completely different. It's almost a different realm, as you could say, to go and get it hustling Kaycee. And so when I'm at home, feeling loved, seeing my kids successful, seeing my wife happy in her own house, seeing her work in her garden, things like that, when you pull in the driveway is a warm, fuzzy feeling. And then in my other realm, um, you know, uh, accomplishing big goals in the business world, hiring or bringing on a new client, someone that maybe I would have never thought about. The table group books, that's a client of mine. I've seen Table Group on the Ben Shapiro show. Thought it was a cool company. Um, Man, should I reach out to them? They're never gonna see my message. Why would they do that? Are you wimping out to get on Virgil? Are you serious? You're backing down. You're standing on the buck and shoots, and you can't initiate and nod your head. Write the message. Write the message, and you know got their business. And that
That's
right there,
awesome.
that was a big win for me. That was an NFR round win for me. That was an 89-point ride. Not quite a 90, but knock one over the fence, and it feels good.
Yeah.
Success is good. But I shouldn't say success is what makes me happy. Crossing off my goals and eliminating that list and making it shorter is what brings me joy. That's the big win for me.
Well, and I think too, it's not even let's not degrade success. Like, yeah, it does bring you joy. It makes you happy, but it's the competitor inside of you, right? It's the heart that makes you fight, the where you're showing up for a purpose and intention and that passion every day. And then seeing that, come to fruition, that brings you joy, that makes you happy. But I think that one of the other things I want to talk about, I know we're kind of running it to Hux's game, so we got to go. But your dad your dad is somebody, my husband, I even asked him, I said, what did you know about Louis Field? And he said, every time I saw that guy, he was helping somebody out. He said, when he shook your hand, he just gave you this feeling. He looked you right in the eye, and you just knew he was a good guy. And he said, I don't really know a lot about him, but every time I saw him, that's what I came across. And how cool to have people say that about your dad, and somebody that was such a huge influence in your life, and something I think you're carrying on too. So within everything he's taught you and all of those things, how are you trying to give back and help in and out of the rodeo world and carry on that field tradition?
I'm holding back a lot of tears right now. I'm very proud of my dad. He's my hero. He's a stud. Like I said, anything you went and did with him, when you got done, you won. You felt great. It didn't matter if it was service for somebody else or spraying out the stock trailers and getting crap all over you. It was fun to be there, and you did the job good and happy go lucky. But I really enjoy helping the youth of rodeo. Um, these kids around here that I've been coaching lately have progressed so much in a short period of time. Um, and I hadn't really, I've done schools, but somebody else put them on, and I showed up and went through the motions. But since I've been retired, I've had a different mentality, and I guess it's because I have a free mind. I'm not consumed of watching a bucking horse, and this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I would do it. Now I'm engaged, and I'm watching these kids, and how are they reacting to the horse? What are these kids doing? And um, I find a lot of joy with helping rodeo kids and other sports, teaching them how to win, and going and speaking to the football team, the wrestling team, whatever it be. Just making them or giving them belief that they can believe in themselves and that they are winners themselves. That brings me a lot of joy. Bringing Chad to work, giving Chad a purpose. That brings me a lot of joy. There's things that I don't ever want noticed for. I don't. The word deception um, is an important word to me, and the picture of me on the salt flats, that was my dream. And the word deception, when you look at that picture, it kind of makes sense. There was no one else there watching. It was me and that horse. I didn't care what anybody else thought. I knew that whatever happened from that day, something good could come from it. If he ran off and we
Yeah.
ended up across the salt flats on the other side, it might get a good picture of him running. But you know, there's there's good everywhere you look, and the more
Yeah.
you look for good, the more there is. And so I guess giving back to the youth, being there for my family at any given time, and my friends, being able to drop what I'm doing and go and help and giving them service. And something that you don't get back is time. You can
Yeah.
donate money or saddles or whatever. Eventually, you can win those back or make more money down the road. But the time that you donate, and gratefully donate your time,
Mhm.
I think that is one of it's hard while you're doing it to make sense of it, but when you're done and it's the end of the day, and you're replaying the day in your mind on things that maybe didn't go the best way, and you're looking to find the solution to make it better. It's hard to find the bad when you're giving service, and
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot of journaling you could do when you're giving service.
Yeah. I love that. Let's real quick, do you have another 5 minutes?
Oh, for sure, for
Okay.
sure.
Let's talk about the salt flats. That was a dream you said you had. I got to see a little bit of the uncut video footage. Dr. Greg Vinclaus was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this horse! He just bit this guy," and I'm like, "What are they doing?" Tell us about that dream and how that came into fruition. I mean, My heart was pumping 400 miles an hour watching that video. I can't imagine what was going through your mind at that point.
Yeah, so the Salt Flats, being here from Utah, the state that I'm very proud of. I'm probably worse than a Texan when it comes to being
Oh,
proud of your
geez.
state. No
Here we
offense,
go.
but yeah, the beaver
I'm from
doesn't.
Colorado, actually, just saying. Mhm.
Okay, sorry, that's a great state. But so I'm driving back. I think it was Redding or Red Bluff, and driving across I-80 for the 100th time, long straight road. And I was thinking, man, how many records have been out there on those salt flats? And it's 3 in the morning, sun's coming up in my eyes, and having a hard time staying awake. And I'm thinking, man, what would be cool for a rodeo cowboy out there? And I've seen people running horses across there with American flags, and it's just beautiful. It's the most American iconic symbol there is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, Virgil, Salt Flats, nothing out there. How could we make that happen? And I wrote it down. I thought, Salt Flats, gray horse. Woke up the next morning. I'm like, that one buck and shoot painted white. That's how I'm doing it. Called around, tried to find the right horse. Got a few no's. Called John Franzen. He's like, dude, Powder River Rodeo will stand behind this 100%. We'll bring 2 buck Chuck. You say when. So we flew out about 10 days after I had the conversation with John. Flew out on a little plane, checked it out to where I think I was going to buck this horse, and there was standing water. So I was like, man, we got to wait longer than I thought. I hope we, don't run out of
Make it all
time. They're
work.
going to take this horse to the rodeos. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, we got to do it. Like, John, let's do this. Come down. We'll buck him Saturday morning. So he comes down, he unloads the horse, and Rodrigo, photographer, Rodrigo Donoso, a good friend of mine, very talented photographer. He's laying on his belly, and my arena is probably 250 long, and Hank, Franzen, who owns the horse, he's like, hey, you better get out of there. He's been on mares. And he's like, I'll be all right. I've been around horses, bro. And that horse comes out, sees Rodrigo from 250 yards away, and runs him up the fence, tries getting him. And I'm
Uh-uh.
like, boy, this just got really real. Like, this isn't a dream anymore. Like,
He almost died.
yeah. And so load up, go out there. The wind's blowing nasty. I put a buck and shoot on one trailer and 4 panels, and then 2 buck Chuck. John followed, and then it was really cool. Whit Hill, a childhood friend of mine, one of my dad's best friends. Um, my dad had a project horse when he passed away, and he rode him the day before he passed away. It was like he was waiting
Mhm.
to die to ride this bucking horse. Different story, but that horse was out there, and Whit got to pick me up on that horse that day.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was just cool. And so we unload the buck and shoot, put the horse in there, and we're getting a few shots. I don't have him cinched up yet, and he's just too calm. Like, 2 buck Chuck's a stud. He's bipolar, Veniclaws and Dr. Veniclaws, and he thinks this horse has 2 sense of humors, or
Yeah.
2 personalities.
Yeah.
And so we cinch him up, and instantly his eyes, like, they got a different color to them almost. Like, you could see it. And he was kind of bending back and looking at me in the chute. And as soon as I slide up on my rig, and he jumps forward and grabs Hank on the shoulder, and he is just ragged on him. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting here with my hand in my rig, and I'm just going like this. This horse is turned sideways in the buck and shoot, and it's tipping over. It's
Yeah.
wanting to tip over. And I'm thinking, man, if this tips over, this is going to be worse than a bear in a bear trap. Like, this horse is going to kill me. And Hank gets thrown off the back. He slams down, and my arm's like on the chute like this, and the horse falls. And my arm just instantly starts burning and hurting. And I broke it 3 times prior to this. Same thing. I'm like, no way. I'm like, I get off of him. I'm like, hey, John, we got to go now. He's like, well, Hank, you all right? And I'm like, hey, Hank, John, now, or I'm not going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And so go out there, and it felt like I rode for 2 seconds. And then watching the video back, it was a 10-second
I was
ride.
gonna
And
say, it was a minute.
yeah, and it just, how I got off, and he went out and trotted around, and we got some of the coolest pictures of a bucking horse, in my opinion. He had a barn buddy horse with him. John led him out to him, and just walked him into the buck and chute, took the rigging off, and put him in the chute. We didn't even have to use the panels. So how it all played out in the 30 minutes that we were out there on the salt flats and the footage that we got, the results were exactly what I had dreamed of. It was crazy to be there, being a part of it, and thinking to myself, I've seen it before. This is crazy. This is deja vu. Getting the truck, and it was honestly, I'd been talking about that dream for 2 years probably. And so to make it happen was a huge win for me. I crossed
That's
a goal
awesome.
off that had been bugging me for 2 years, and it wasn't that one was, you go to the rodeo and you have a mentality. You get there and you have a purpose, and you're there to win. Where my dream was like, what's the purpose?
Mm-hmm.
I got to do this, but what's the purpose? So for 2 years it was like, there's not a purpose.
Right. It's
Who
just a
cares?
dream.
And so to get it done and see the results and see what we were able to make out of it, and have the friends ends behind me, and bring that awesome horse and support me like that. It was, not like a gold buckle win, but it was right up there, and it was so much fun. It didn't last long enough.
Well, and from an outside perspective, my view on your purpose of that is like you recreated everything. We have this box mentality we get stuck in of like, this is all we try or see, or, you totally broke the glass ceiling there. It's like, why not? What can't you do? Like, he just rode this horse out in the middle of the salt flats with no guarantees of anything. Like, that's just wild. And so from an outside perspective, you just totally open the door for creativity, imagination, and dreaming, more so in the rodeo realm and the Western industry. And I think you set a high stage for everybody.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, I didn't know the purpose behind it, but the results have been fun, and
Yeah.
yeah, to hear people watch Unbroken, the movie we made out of it, to hear what they have to say about it and how it motivates them is something that's it's humbling for
Mhm.
sure. But what a fun project it was, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm proud of that moment in my life. I'm proud of what we were able to make out of it, and the impact that it has on others is something I'm proud of too.
Yeah, an impact for a
Humbly say.
lifetime. If you guys haven't watched it, you can go look up Unbroken. It's on YouTube and all the places. You guys can go and watch that. Kaycee, one last question I have for you. I ask every one of my guests that come on this podcast. If you had to go back and you had to give younger Kaycee a piece of advice, what would that be and why?
Believe in yourself way earlier. I feel like my talents and my capabilities um, were untouched for a few years, and my potential was there. So if I was to be able to go back, I would have found my purpose way earlier. I wouldn't have let you know I don't know how to properly say it, but life experiences is what motivated me, and I wish I would have just had the self discipline when I wrote my goals down at 13 to believe in them.
Yeah. I love it. Belief, purpose, intention, faith, all the things. Kaycee Feild, thank you for sacrificing your time coming on and talking to us on In the Loop. Y'all, every one of Kaycee's businesses will be in our show notes. You can go on our website and check out the blog. Kaycee, thank you for donating your time today. And tell Hux I said good luck tonight at his game.
I will for sure. I appreciate it, Jordan, and I enjoyed this. I really did. It was fun to be on here with you.
Thank you.
You betcha.